Let's imagine you just log on to Roblox Rivals, and you pretend that you have every single melee in the game. Now, if you're new, which one should we use, and how should we rank them? Well, in this video, we'll be going over which one is the best and the worst weapons for melee in Roblox Rivals. Anyway, let's get into it. First up, we have the Battle Axe. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a really good weapon, but it's just pretty underwhelming, so that's why we have to put it in the number 8 spot. So pretty much, for a demo of this weapon, I will show you what it does before we actually jump to conclusions. So pretty much, when you hit a person, normally it will do 55 damage each hit. Now, yeah, don't get me wrong, it does some good damage, but it kind of just slows you down a ton, and it's not really a good weapon, so getting diamond or gold on this might be a little difficult. Now, there are other weapons that do less damage than it, but are way better in fights, and we will jump to those later, and that's why I put the Battle Axe in the number 8 spot. And here we go, is the ability when you right click, which does 40 damage, which is worse. So pretty much, it's kind of like the Scythe ability, but you don't jump up, so watch if I use it. If you like aim up, it just launches you forward. So it does have like a slashing effect, but honestly, it's not really a good weapon, which is why it's in the number 8 spot. Now let's move on to the next weapon. The number 7 spot, we have the chainsaw. Now this weapon I thought used to be really super good. And yeah, it's good. It has a nice speed, it does 60 damage, but honestly, I kind of feel like it is more underwhelming than it used to feel like, because this is an updated tier list, so that's why I'm not putting it at the number 5 or higher than that, because honestly it's just, you know, it's gotten worse, I feel like. But you can put your opinion down there, but this is personally my opinion, and this is what I think would be great for you if you had every melee and you had to pick. So, at the number 7 spot, for the melees you should pick, number 7 is the chainsaw. So, pretty much it has 60 damage. Now, what this weapon I would mainly use for is the mobility, because its ability, which, I mean, it does good damage, but, like, there's way better weapons you could choose, which is why I feel like the chainsaw should belong in this spot. But anyway, if you pair slide jumping with this, then you can get something nice. I just kind of glazed it a lot, and that's why I put it in like the number 2, number 1 spot, which is what I used to do. But now my opinion has changed a lot, so we gotta move on to the number 6 spot. At the number 6 spot, you can get mad at me all you want, but the Riot Shield, it is a good weapon. It blocks a lot of attacks, but I feel like there are still a lot of weapons I could get through, and its damage is just not the best. 25 is good in a game, yes, but it's not, I feel like, as good as the other weapons. So this damage is pretty much, this weapon is pretty much just for you if you like sitting in a corner and camping, which is something I've done before, but I personally don't like it because it makes the game, number 1, unfun, and it makes the game unfun for the other player. So it makes the game pretty much unfun overall, which is why I don't like this weapon at all, because someone can just hide in the corner, switch to flamethrower and exogun, and they could just keep hiding in the corner, which is so annoying with this weapon. So this weapon has a lot of capabilities, but I feel like if you would put it higher on a tier list, it's going to need to have some better damage. Yes, you can do some nice clips with this weapon, like knocking them back off of docks or other types of maps, but this weapon just isn't good anymore, I feel like, because when they add new weapons, like the more there are, the different it is, so that's why I put it at the number 6 spot. Anyway, let's move on to the number 5 spot. Now, when we go into the number 5 spot and above more, 4, 3, 2, 1, all of these top 5 spots are pretty much balanced in their own way, but the number 1 is probably the best. Now, I say this is at number 5. Please do not get mad at me in the comments, but I only say this because there are, I feel like, better weapons than this. Yes, you have a double jump, you have amazing mobility, you have super fast attack range, super fast damage, but I feel like there are better weapons than this that have better gimmicks. So the fist is very balanced for a starter weapon, but there are better weapons, I think. So that's why I put the fist at the number 5 spot. But if you want to figure out what's better, you gotta move up to the number 4 spot. Now for our number 4 spot, I think we have to put Scythe in this because it has one of the best mobilities in the game. for being such a pretty cheap weapon, honestly, at 45 so it's a pretty nice weapon for the amount, which is why some people would take a lot of weapons like this. So if you are going to get a new melee, I would probably prefer this one out of any melee in the game to get first, because it is kind of it's really overrated, but it's still a very good weapon at the same time. So that's why our number 4 spot is that, and that's pretty much why I put it here. But its ability is to dash into the air like that. You can control it around wherever you want, and that's what I really like about it. You can do some nice flips with this, with sniper, assault rifle. So when you kind of get to a higher level, you realize that this weapon is very good. Now it does have okay attack damage, and it also has good attack speed. So both of them are pretty nice, which is why I put it in the number 4 spot. But anyway, let's move up to the top 3. Now, at number 3, I have the Katana, which is a great weapon overall, and I put it above the Scythe because it is also an amazing melee. So you can pick this one over if you want. But me personally, I like the Katana more than the Scythe. Yes, I'll still use both of them probably equally, but I kind of feel like the Katana is better because I'll show you its ability. It has super fast attack damage, and it does more damage. And it also has a blocking ability, which I think is better than Riot Shield, me personally, because you can block more things. But you could tell me whatever you want in the comments. I will not care, really. Some things just too. Don't get mad at me too much, but I do put this in the number 3 spot because of its blocking capabilities, which are really nice. Plus, it has a low cooldown. Yes, Riot Shield has a no cooldown, but I do think Katana is still better still because of my opinion. So don't get mad at me for that, please. You can have your opinion. That's okay. But we may or may can move up to the number 2 spot. Now, the number 2 spot, we have Trowel, which is pretty expensive, but is a very good weapon. You can do a lot of things with this. Like, it does 50 damage per hit, so it's pretty much a mini Gunblade before it got nerfed. So if you didn't have Gunblade, this is pretty much the alternate version. Now, it is the OG weapon, so this used to be, like, the go-to weapon. Now, in my old opinion, I was not really smart about it, so I did put this weapon at the number, like, I think 5 spot when there were way less weapons. So, I don't know why I did that, because this weapon is so much better when I started using it more. So I do use this weapon a lot. There is a glitch for it, which, lets you do something with the trampoline, which makes it fly glitch. I still don't know if it's patched, because it hasn't been working for me for some reason. But, its special ability is you place down this wall, and when you hit it, it turns into cement, because this is a part of the classic bundle, and it is a classic weapon. So if you remember old Roblox, these, Trowel does this, similar to the paintball gun and stuff. But anyway, we could go over that in a different topic. So the, Trowel, does do really good damage, which is why I put it in the number 2 spot. Now, you can probably tell what the number 1 weapon is, but we'll move on to that in a second. Anyway, yeah, the Trowel is a very good weapon, and that is specifically why I put it in number 2. It is underrated, but I think one thing I would change about it from being in the number 1 spot is its price. Yeah, it does 50 damage, but I think it's too pricey because Gunblade has the same capabilities when you run out of ammo. In fact, I think Gunblade might be a tiny bit better than this, really. Because of it has bullets too, which makes it, I feel like, a little better. But Gunblade technically is not a melee, it is a primary, which is why it's not in this list. Now let's move on to the number 1 spot. Now the number 1 spot, you guessed it, is the knife. Now I put this in number 1. This could be your opinion. Your opinion could also be different. Whatever, it is my opinion now. So, that's why I put it in that spot. Now, this is not the normal knife because I usually have skins on my weapons. But, you know what's why this weapon is so good is because it has really fast attack speed, and its attack damage is also really good, so you can take out players even if you don't use the backstab. But about the backstab is a skill or ability, whatever you want to call it. That is the right click of the weapon, which is the ability, blah blah blah. But pretty much what you do is you pretty much when you're behind someone, it's called backstabbing, where you take your knife, and then when he respawned. But when you take your knife and then you slide into him or whatever you want to do, you can slide into him. But as long as you freaking hit him in the back, it's a backstab. and it one-shots them. That's why I picked this as the #1 spot, because it's a one-shot weapon, which is, I believe this is the only one-shot weapon in the game, besides the, falling into the void, but, that's pretty much, this is the best weapon for one-shotting, or the best melee in my opinion. So, your opinion could be different, but, this is the sole reason why I picked this is because of the backstab, which is better than any weapon, or any melee in the game, which is why this weapon is so good. But anyway, your opinion could be different, but this is personally my opinion. But if you made it through all the way, and you like my opinion, make sure to subscribe. You're not forced to, but it would really mean a lot to me, because only a few % of you guys are subscribed. So if you just hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys later.